electric scooter you guys have been asking about in the comments for a while now. This is the Twing Mars XTR. It has a claimed top speed of 68 miles per hour and dual motors making 10,000 watts of peak power. At first glance, I mean, it does look a little bit like a knockoff of a GTR, but with a Samsung battery 34% bigger than the one in the GTR, a built-in fire extinguisher, and a type of suspension I've only ever seen before on BMW motorcycles, this $3,400 scooter starts to look like it could go head-to-head with the world's fastest production scooters. We're gonna test the performance of the Twing Mars XTR against the Cavo Wolf King GTR, the eMove Roadster, the InMotion RS, Bernie Max, Visette 11 Plus Super 72, and a few others. Plus, we'll cover all of the usual stuff from our reviews, but I'm gonna give you a spoiler right now. In one of our performance tests, the Twing Mars XTR beat every scooter I just mentioned, including the $6,000 eMove Roadster. So stick around to see the performance test. All right, we're back on day one with the Twing Mars XTR, and I'm super excited. I'm always excited on new scooter day, but I'm especially excited today. This is a big scooter. It's a new brand. We haven't checked one of these scooters out yet. And then on top of that, this is one that you guys have been asking us about in the comments. And a note to everybody who does this, please keep asking for us to review different scooters in the comments section. That's how scooters get on our radar. And that's how this one ended up here, thanks to you guys. So let's dig in. You'll notice it comes in two different boxes. They call one of them the gift box, which is, you know, a little odd because it's not free, you paid for it. I think half the stuff is in there. And oh, of course the scooter's in here. Yep. So right off the bat, the inspiration from the Wolf King GT is pretty clear, but also I'm getting a little bit of a Dualtron vibe from this rubber deck with that little two-tone logo on it. And it's a mixture of Wolf scooter inspiration because it's got the stem that's more like the Wolf Warrior X with the dual clamps right here. Dual clamps, right? You got, it kind of pops up and folds down like this, which is all at the same time a little more complicated, but maybe a little bit easier than the Wolf King GTR. Let's see what's in the other box. Got our manual. Some tools. A little fender extender. I read about that. That goes back here. Oh, these are the mounts for the headlight. And we've got the headlight here, the mounts, some tools, and oh, looks like there's a fork brace. That's gotta go over here. Big 6-amp charger. This is kind of with a fan, which means you're not always gonna wanna be in the same room as this while it's charging. So in with the headlight mounts are an extra set of brake pads, so that's nice. All right, let's start it up. So holding the power button and, okay, so I come up to password, which is the default password is 0000. And then it comes with the NFC keys, but I didn't need to use that just now. So I guess those aren't programmed in yet. So that's good. And let's peel this guy off. Oh man, so it's got this great looking TFT display. I love when we come across a brand new original display. And something else I'm seeing right away that's brand new is it's not going right now because it's in gear 0. And all I have to do is hit the plus button. Now I'm in gear 1. I can run it through the gears and it goes. So it's basically like the scooter's got a neutral switch. You can throw it into neutral and park it and it's safe, and then just nudging the plus button and you're going. I love that. Everybody should do this. Looks like it's got 5 different speed settings. Let's put it up on the stand and see how fast it goes in each one. So gear 0, it's like neutral, nothing's moving. Gear 1, super slow. Oh, this is like, it's kind of like a walk mode, a little faster, 7 miles per hour. Gear 2, we're spinning up to 19. Gear 3, about 30 miles an hour. Gear 4, oh, now we're going somewhere. We've got 41, almost 42 miles an hour. And gear 5, whoa, this thing spins up to, I don't know, it's hard to tell. 81, it was kind of flashing back and forth between 81 miles an hour and 85 miles per hour. So we're not gonna be firmware limited for the top speed. It's just gonna depend on how much power the scooter can make. So on top of having the 5 modes plus neutral, we've also got the single motor and dual motor and eco and turbo buttons over here. So we've got a lot of different choices when it comes to riding modes. And then this M button over here, which I thought was just going to be modes, is actually just showing us different modes for the screen. Like different display. It's got a huge motorcycle style headlight on the front and it's throwing quite a bit of light at the wall. Oh, I'm gonna beep the horn. We'll see if it's loud. Oh, okay. That's kind of cool. I'm gonna get this charged up because tomorrow I'm gonna do the range test, and it promises to be one of the longest range tests I've ever done. We're out at our favorite top speed run spot to find out if the Twing Mars XTR can really hit its specified top speed of 68 miles per hour. Because if it can, it'll be faster than the Wolf King GTR, the Dualtron X Limited, the InMotion RS, the Storm Limited, Super 72, basically everything except for the Roadster. It's got no steering damper. I am more than a little bit nervous because no matter how good a scooter is, I just never get used to going this fast. And remember kids, we do speed runs so you don't have to. If there was any other way to really find out how fast these scooters can go, we'd just do it. Go! Oh my God, oh, so much wheel spin. Oh, we're going, we're good. I think it's very fast. 60, 70, I'm seeing 70 on there. Oh my God. I don't know if that's real or not, but it sure feels like it. Oh man, no. I had to live for a second. Oh, I got this. Go! Oh man, so much wheel spin. Still spinning. 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 42. I can't even count this fast. 50. Let's get every 10. 60. Go! I'm not even kicking off. It's got so much power. 71. Go! Oh, I actually pushed off that time. All right. 40. 50. 60. That was terrifying. It was no fault of the scooter, but I had a little user error in there. I lost concentration for a second. There was a truck coming towards me, and I just kind of lost my focus down the road. And I went to a little bit of wobble. I had a moment, and I've not had a moment like that before on an electric scooter. So that was, I'm still shaking a little bit, but it's all good. I actually went for 2 more runs after that, so 3 more runs after that, so it's all good. The Mars XTR went 67.7 miles per hour in the eastbound direction and 63 miles per hour in the other direction. So the Mars XTR has an ESG official top speed in both directions of 65.4 miles per hour. That's the 3rd fastest scooter we've ever tested, behind the eMove Roadster and the Wolf King GTR. And this is with off-road tires. If it had road tires on it, I think we'd get another mile and a half per hour. And even more important is the 0 to 30 time, because that's something that you can use every day. But the story there is the same. It beats everything we've ever tested except for the eMove Roadster and the Wolf King GTR with a 0 to 30 time of 3.4 seconds. The XTR's range was also outstanding, covering 56.8 miles on our hill-covered range test course. That's the 5th longest range test ever recorded by ESG. Let's check out the brakes. The Teewing Mars XTR stopped from 15 miles per hour in just 11.0 feet, which puts it in 10th place out of the 11 top shelf comparison scooters, just ahead of the Wolf King GTR. It's got a great lever feel from the nut hydraulic brakes, but it's limited by the same thing that ultimately limits the braking performance of the Cabo Wolf King GTR, and that's knobby tires and a high center of gravity. Teewing Mars XTR has so many impressive specs, but I'm gonna start off with the big one, and that's the battery. This is a scooter that sells for $3,399, and it comes with a 72-volt Samsung 45 amp hour battery. And to put that in perspective, it's 34% larger than the Wolf King GTR, the fast one. And I don't usually do this at this point in the videos, but I'm gonna put up a leaderboard for battery size. And we'll throw the prices up there too, to kind of show where this stacks up. There are only 3 scooters we've tested that have bigger batteries than this. The Dualtron Storm Limited, the X Limited, and the eMove Roadster. And of course, a big battery means it's a big, heavy scooter. The spec for weight, 132.7 pounds, and we weighed it was close to that, 134.6. So this is definitely a team lift situation if you ever needed to get this up a flight of stairs. As we mentioned in the unboxing, it comes with a 6 amp charger, and that gets it charged in 8 hours. But if you double up, it'll charge it in 4 because there are 2 charge ports here. So this is a dual motor scooter, and each motor puts out 2,000 watts nominal for a total of 10,000 watts of peak power. In fact, I did the calculation. I think they're being a little conservative. By my calculations, it comes out to almost 11,000 watts of peak power. There's just a lot of cool tech on this scooter, and a lot of it you can't can't even see. Inside, the battery is coupled to the frame with a silicone pad that helps keep the temperature of the battery under control when you're doing high performance riding. And it's got a power port over on this side. And what this guy is for is you can actually hook up a power inverter to this and make AC electricity if you need to. And it draws up to 1500 watts. The power inverter doesn't come with a scooter, but it sells for $199 and it's linked on their website. The water resistance rating is IP66, which is one of the highest ratings we've ever seen. And it comes with, good fenders and a little fender extender. So this should actually do really well riding in wet conditions. The tires are 11-inch and they're self-sealing tubeless, but they only come in knobbies as far as I can tell. And the suspension is like nothing I've seen before. It's got what they call a telelever suspension or a telelever type suspension. And at the back end, they've got a multi-link suspension. And this is something you'll see on the back of almost every motorcycle in the world because it just also helps the shock work better. And you can see it when I squish on the suspension. I've got the suspension adjuster set right about in the middle right now. And you can see there's just a ton of damping in the back. This actually feels a lot like my former race bike. We'll have to turn the lights out and do some B-roll to show you this one, but it's also got some cool lighting effects built in. There's a separate app that you can use to tune this and give you different patterns and different colors. And this second one isn't really a spec, but it's really important when you're dealing with kind of a newer brand. They have shipping warehouses in California and New York and a repair center in New York as well. And what that means is, one, your stuff's gonna get here faster. Two, you're not gonna get hit with any weird customs charges for like things that ship overseas. And three, it means they've made an investment in the United States and they're gonna be around for a while. Everywhere on this scooter, I'm seeing some new things. Right here, we've got an adjustable kickstand. It looks like we've got quite a range of adjustment. And you can also flip this out if you want to make it easier to push down with your foot. But I'd leave it in because that looks a little dangerous. So now we're gonna find out how fast the Twing Mars XTR can climb hills. To beat the GTR, it's gotta do it in 6.3 seconds or less. Let's go find out. So it did it. The Teewing Mars XTR just broke our all-time hill climbing record. It did it in 6.01 seconds. I did it back-to-back, both times, same result. And it beats the Roadster's 6.1. So it's a 1/10 of a second faster than the fastest hill climber we've ever tested. So we've established that the Twing Mars XTR has some pretty good performance, but none of that really matters if it's not nice to ride. So let's go find out what it's like to ride. Okay, so there are a ton of modes on this scooter and a ton of buttons, maybe a couple too many. We've got the Eco Turbo and single dual. Like on most scooters, this is gone by now, and they just leave it in turbo all the time, and they just leave it in dual all the time. There are enough modes over here. I'm gonna leave this alone. I'm gonna leave this in turbo, I can leave it in dual, and I think that's just the way it should stay. And but now I'm gonna take you through the other modes, and those are controlled by these plus and minus buttons right over here. And so here we are in mode 1 in turbo, and we are going 6.7 miles per hour. I mean, it's pretty mellow. It's kind of like, a brisk walk mode. So there's coming from a dead stop in mode 1. Not much going on. All right, let's try mode 2. Let's launch it in mode 2. Okay, we got a little wheel spin. It's sporty, fun, but manageable. This is a pretty comfortable mode for kind of riding around. We've got 18.8 miles per hour. And so, yeah, this is like, rental scooter mode, but, with sporty takeoff, and still pretty fun. Okay, let's move on. Mode 3. Okay, so now we're getting aggressive. Now we've got some wheel spin in there, and now it just scoots. I'm not gonna do top speed in all these modes, but okay, we're 30 right now in mode 3. And so now we're kind of into that sports scooter mode. And then, 4 and 5, we're getting ridiculous. Let me go ahead and just show you. All right, so here's 4. All right, and I don't even know, you can adjust the intensity of these modes, and I'll show you that in just a second. But here we go. Okay, so 4, just stopped spinning. So it spins and spins. But not as bad as mode 5. I'm going to show you that. In fact, and now I'm going to get into the settings and I'm going to turn it all the way up because I'm going to show you how ridiculous this is. So, but to do it, okay, wait, there's a trick. And the GTR, some other scooters do this too. You have to do it right when you turn it on. So I got to turn it off, and so I'm going to turn it back on. All right, it's showing me the logo. 4 pushes to get past the password, and now you hold down the M button,
And we're gonna go down to startup strength. Okay, we're in 3, so this is the default startup strength. So that's a good thing to show you. But let's go ahead and get crazy. Okay, we're gonna go to 5 and just show you how ridiculous this is. And I don't recommend this. It's actually not, I don't think that rideable and that fun. Now I've got it basically in kill mode, all right? I gotta kind of get myself ready. Okay, here we go. Oh, man, it's still spinning, still spinning. Oh, still spinning, I gotta pay attention. Okay, it just stopped spinning. It's kind of nuts. Oh my gosh, and whew. It's not really like a mode you want to ride around in. And so because of that, that was 15 miles an hour. Because of that, you end up using the mode buttons a lot. They're easy to get to. They're right over here. And then, you can just kind of toggle your speed around. And one of the reasons that you need to do that is that this doesn't have sine wave controllers. And so, unlike the Nami, those are the only scooters I know of where you can really kind of leave it in top mode just all the time, and it gives you so much control just through the throttle that I don't feel like I need any of the other modes. This is more like the eMove Roadster, and part of that is just because it just has so much power. The Roadster's like that too. It's just too much power unless you really are, drag racing or whatever, and so you kind of turn it up and down. But yeah, this has FOC controllers, not sine wave. The throttle control is still pretty good. I would really put it on par with the eMove Roadster. If I put it in, here I am in 3rd gear, and I'm just gonna kind of ease into it. I mean, this is a pretty sporty mode, and I'm kind of just on and off the throttle, on and off the throttle. It's not bad. And so I would really put this up there with the Roadster. In fact, it has the same throttle as the Roadster. It's got the same throttle lever, and it doesn't give you as much precision as some other levers like the one on the Nami, but it also doesn't have the dead zone. So it's hard to say which one I would prefer. Probably the one on the Nami, because just the precision is pretty useful when you have this level of power. And again, I'm not going to take you to top speed because we already did that, and it's just nuts and there are people around. But let me show you some of the other switches. So we've got the headlight switch over here, and a lot of this stuff, you've seen it in other places, right? You've seen these on some of the Mantis scooters and the Cabos. And so we've got our headlight switch, we've got our turn signals and our horn button, which is kind of goofy sounding. Not very loud, but kind of in the middle between a car horn and ding ding, a little bell. These are not my favorite turn signals. They're a little hard to use. Like you have to really poke them with the middle of your thumb, especially with gloves on. They only light up in the back, and I don't think I would really end up using them. The grips, I like these. I like the shape, nice soft rubber. I like that they clamp on the inside. I wish they clamped on the outside, but they actually don't spin around too much. They kind of stay put. And then the handlebar height is, a little bit low for me. These are 39-inch handlebars. My favorite is 40, but it is, it's taller than the 38.5 of the Wolf King GTR. So it's got that going for it. I've mentioned the suspension a little bit on this. It is truly outstanding. You really can't see it while I'm just riding around out here, but let me get off and show you what I mean. All right, so let me show you the suspension. It's got what BMW would call a telelever suspension, which I'm sure is trademarked, so they can't call it that, but it's really similar to what BMW does, and it gives you a really linear shock like a nutcracker. It's not getting crushed by the suspension, and so it only runs a 650-pound spring, which is a great spring rate for shocks like this. It means that they're not overwhelmed. They can give you plenty of damping. I'm going to spin around to the other side and show you a trick that these can do that I haven't seen any other shock be able to do. And it's because they're mounted out in the open like this. These are adjustable hydraulic shocks, and the hydraulic part is right here. They've got 10 clicks. I've got it set to about 5. Really easy to adjust. But the cool thing is that you can adjust the preload with your hands. And it's not gonna work for every setting, but for me, I've been able to kind of put it where I want with just my hands. Yeah, you can click this damping around with your fingers, 10 clicks, really easy to turn. But the awesome thing is you can also adjust the preload by just grabbing the spring and turning it, and it turns the bottom collar, and that squishes the spring more or less, gives you more or less preload and makes it stiffer or less stiff. It's awesome. All right, let's just get in here. You've got your damping adjuster here. You got your spring here. You can get in there and with both hands and twist it around. And then there's the preload adjuster. The thing that's bothered me a couple times this week, it's not a big deal, but these plugs are recessed into the deck. And so when you close them up, I mean, they're nice and protected. That's the good part. That's the important part, right? But Yeah, look at my fingertips. You know, I have to like really get in there and close these down. Not a big deal, but you know, it's just a little bit fiddly opening them and closing them. And while we're talking about the aesthetics, there's no missing the fact that this scooter comes in camo. And you don't have to, you can get it in black as well, but they sent us the camo one. So one thing you'll notice when I get up to speed is that, I don't know if you can hear it, the tires are pretty noisy. These are off-road tires. They're a pretty aggressive pattern. And the motors themselves are almost silent, but you definitely get some tire noise. For multi-hour long rides, that could start to get annoying. So for long rides, I'd recommend putting some regular tires on, probably some PMTs. In fact, you know what? When you order one of these, if you order one of these, do yourself a favor, at the time you get the scooter, get spare tires, and no knock against the scooter, this is just true of every scooter that has gobs and gobs of power, is that these tires, I've got maybe 100 miles on them, and I've worn off about half of the middle tread on here, the front in particular. And I've been, you know, I'm riding aggressively, but I haven't done any intentional burnouts. It's just accelerating. And, you know, especially the off-road tires, they just wear out a bit faster. So be prepared. You're going to go through tires if you spend much time enjoying the throttle the way that I do. The brakes give you a mixture of regen and mechanical brakes from their hydraulic discs, and they're by nuts, and they're a new type of master cylinder I haven't seen before. They look a little bit like the Zoom brakes, but they, you know, they feel really good. I'm getting a little squeak at the front end, but I'm sure I could tune that out by aligning the caliper. The overall brake feel is really good, just held back by the knobby tires and the tall suspension. And now for the part of the video where I ride like an idiot until somebody kicks us out or I fall off. Oh man, so much wheel spin. Oh man, how much of it? Wow. Sometimes just enough. Wow, and sometimes too much. Wow, it's still spinning, I can't turn yet. Oh my God, this is crazy. The Twing Mars XTR has a relatively high reliability score of 8.3 out of 10 that's pulled upward by self-sealing tubeless tires and a Samsung battery, but pulled downward by the lack of a UL listing, although I hear they're working on that right now. And I'm also dinging them for not having as many spare parts available on their website as I'd like to see. So what do we like and dislike about the Twing Mars XTR? Pros include the largest and highest quality battery you can get for the money, scary fast performance, I mean seriously, it is a lot, and enough range to wear out the rider long before the battery is drained. And things that I'd like to see improved include, I don't love the way they mounted the headlight, especially because it's such a nice headlight. And while portability is always a challenge on 60-mile-per-hour plus scooters, I feel like it could really use a better place to grab onto at the front of the scooter when you're loading it in the back of a vehicle. So who is the Twing Mars XTR for? Well, I think it's a great choice for riders that want the maximum range per dollar and outright performance per dollar, which, come to think of it, was always what the Wolf King series was best at. So now we've come full circle, and you probably want me to pick one or the other, but like normal, I'm just gonna tell you what each one does best, and then you can decide which of those things are most important to you. So to me, aside from raw performance per dollar, what the GTR does best is that it's got traction control, and that's pretty important when you get up to this level of power. Although I wish that they would give you both traction control and S mode at the same time, but right now they don't. Also, it's got a removable battery, which the Twing Mars XTR doesn't have, and that's kind of cool. And while I doubt anybody's gonna buy a second battery as a spare, it does let you bring the battery upstairs to charge. And finally, you know, Cabo is at the moment a more well-established brand, so it's got that going for it. But there are some things that the XTR does better than the GTR, aside from just being less expensive. For example, the delay from double-clicking the throttle in the GTR is one of the reasons why it didn't win the hill climb. Next, there's the XTR's suspension. I mean, I like the tech better, but it honestly just works better than the suspension on the GTR. And on top of that, there's the range. The XTR went 31% further than the GTR, and of course that makes sense because it has a 34% bigger battery. Then there's the handlebar height. The XTR's handlebars are about an inch shorter than I'd like at 39 inches above the deck, but they're half an inch taller than the handlebars on the Wolf King GTR. You guys are absolute rock stars for staying with me till the very end of the video. It helps our channel tremendously when you do that, so shout out to all you hardcore scooter guys. If you think the Twing Mars XTR is worth another look, click the link in this video's description to find the best price, and we'll put any coupon codes we can find down there for you too. I'm Paul from Electric Scooter Guide. Ride safe and don't forget to wear a helmet.